Hi, this is Elliot Roger, and you're listening to the Ha Men, a podcast for supreme gentlemen. Who let my balls out? Who? Hi, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and especially the people that used to listen to the Pen 15 podcast, coming to you live from the Buckeye State. I'm not saying where. This is Old City Matt and famous Northeast Ohio comedian Tim Wolfe.
Well,
and this is the first episode of the Ha Men. We are going to talk about Aaron Carter's death. But Tim, how have you been? This is the first time we've done this in room. This is the first time we've done this not on Zoom.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm excited because our last podcast was fun but short-lived. So now I'm hoping that with this new start with you back in town, that we'll have a new podcast full of Mirth and Glee.
That's Tim talk for possible gay sex. No,
yeah, we are.
Yeah, Mirth and Glee.
We actually are fucking right now.
Yes, we're showing incredible vocal restraint.
Yeah, it's not very good. You could tell by how calm
bored
and
we
collected
are. Just bored. Tim, I thought this would be more exciting. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, that's the running theme for people when they fuck me.
You know, on the old podcast, you said one of the funniest things I ever heard. You said, what was it? If you're the kind of girl that likes getting dick, I wouldn't recommend me being the one who gives it to you.
I should write. You've said that a few times. Maybe I should write that down.
Yeah, you put that on your fucking set tonight.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it tonight in front of my new girlfriend. Tell
me a little bit about. I mean, you don't invade her privacy when you tell me about her, but you did just break up with a girl.
Yeah, I have a thing. I record podcast episodes, and then in between the time that it takes for the episode to come out, I get broken up with. So I'll talk about a girl on an episode, and then in the next episode I'll be like, not that one, I'm talking about a different one. And then people are like, we can't keep up with this shit.
Yeah.
I've never in my life had the year that I've had with women. It's weird.
Okay.
And I'm not bragging about it. I'm actually kind of scared. Because
at any moment a breakup is right around the corner.
If this is the trajectory of my life, it's just going to go downhill from here.
It's a roller coaster, baby. It's a roller coaster.
I don't know. I guess it's not a lot. It's my third girlfriend of the year.
Okay, so take me to the beginning, the abridged version, of course. But the beginning of the year, it's January. You had a girlfriend then. The last girlfriend I knew about was the one with the kid who broke up with you because of the joke. So who was before that?
Before that was a crazy lady who was a big fan of stand-up comedy.
Oh shit! She was the one that went through your roommate stuff.
Yeah,
movie theater Kelly. Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about her. Yeah.
Yeah, my roommate was like, "How come all my shit's been moved around?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Well, because my girlfriend cleaned up around the apartment." She was like, "Well, can you tell her not to touch my things?" And I was like, "Hey, can you not touch my roommate's things anymore?" And she was like, "What's going on with you and your roommate? Are you guys having sexual relations with each other?" And I'm like, "No, you can't gaslight me into thinking that I'm fucking my
roommate." Could you imagine you're not getting laid and somebody else is gaslighting you into thinking you are? It's like, no, we did have sex last night. It's like, I don't remember. I feel like I just jacked off all alone by myself. No, we had sex.
Yeah, she's trying to gaslight my penis into my roommate's vagina.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not even possible, I don't think. But and then she basically was like, I did a background check on her and I found out that she's not who she says she is.
And you've known Kelly since you guys were
I've known her
since,
or
some shit.
No, I mean not that long. But I've known her since she was 17 when she worked at the movie theater.
Right. Yeah.
And we were friends working at the movie theater together. And then when she got out of college, she moved away, and then she needed a place in Cleveland to stay. So, and then so I was like, all right. And then so we got this place together. But we've never been more than just friends. And every single girl that I've seemed to bring into the apartment is just like, well, it's strange that you could live with a female that you're not fucking. And I'm like, I don't know if you're familiar with my penis, but it's not. It's not a big fan of most people.
That dog. That dog don't run no more.
That dog don't. That dog don't run.
That dog don't hunt.
Juggalos. The Juggalo colors don't run, or whatever they're saying.
I thought it was the Confederate flag. That was Juggalos. Isn't that the Confederate flag? These colors don't run. They surrender.
I always confuse the Confederacy and Juggalos.
Could you imagine if we fought the Civil War against Juggalos? It's just it's a bunch of fucking soldiers aiming at a bunch of clowns going whoop whoop. They just fire. They just kill them all.
The North heads down to the South, and they're just like, they're all clowns down there. We fucking saw them with our own eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, the soldiers that haven't been like deployed yet are like, they're just telling tall tales. They get down there like, oh shit, they're like actually
they're actually
clowns.
They're all obese clowns.
Yeah, they're clowns with slaves, terrified slaves.
Oh my god! Do you imagine if the Juggalos owned slaves at some point, and then the slaves of the Juggalos had to be released?
What would a Juggalo do with a slave? They wouldn't know how to farm. They wouldn't know what to like. What would you do with a slave if you were? What are Juggalos into?
I don't know. Make him pick up Faygo from the store.
Yeah, drink it like it's cum. Like that one joke we did.
Oh yeah.
Remember you keep up for the new listeners. We had a joke one episode of the Pen 15 podcast. We kept calling Faygo Fago, and like, what if it all just tasted like cum and you couldn't? Every time you tried to give it a shot, it just tasted like cum and nobody else tasted the cum.
Yeah, there's like a mystery flavor, and you're like, I'm gonna bet it's cum, and then you drink it, and you're like, it is cum.
Come again.
But yeah, so basically what happened was this girl was insane, and I mean everyone knew it except me. I have this thing where I just kind of like, I'm so happy that people are interested in me that I ignore everything.
You got to work on that, because now that you've had 3 girlfriends in 1 year, I think it's safe to say that girls do like you. You probably don't have to work that hard to get girls to like you, as hard as you thought you did.
That's the sad part, is I feel like it's easy for girls to be infatuated by me because of how I am on stage, but then once they kind of like hang out with me a lot, they're like, oh, that's not how it is.
Yeah, it's not a 24/7 laugh
I think
fest.
they see that I'm confident and assertive on stage, and they're like, maybe he'll be confident and assertive in bed. And I'm just like, unfortunately, I don't, unless I have a microphone in my hand, I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing with anything. So
yeah.
But anyway, the point is like this girl just basically infiltrated my life, and then did weird shit with my roommate's fucking background history.
And not the cool.
She's like, I don't know if you know this, but she's been to Comic-Con 5 years in a row. And shit like that.
Wait,
she didn't say that verbatim.
Right, okay. I was going to be like, why would that be
if
like...
If there was a rap sheet...
That's not a red flag necessarily.
No.
Like...
And I'm just like, listen, she's a good person. She's cool, and I live with her. But she has a boyfriend, and it's not a big deal. But she couldn't get past it, so then I blocked her on everything, that girl. And... I was doing roast battles between after that.
Yeah, I remember you.
And
I remember this carrying on for longer than the relationship.
Yeah. I was with this girl from like January to like the end of March, so it wasn't that long. Around like April or May or something, I was doing a roast battle, and she messaged the guy that I was battling in the roast on Facebook, and she was like, if you want ammunition against Tim for the roast, got you.
Does she not understand what kayfabe is?
I don't know what kayfabe is.
Okay, like in wrestling, how kayfabe is like your persona. Like, does she not understand that like people that are engaging in a roast battle don't usually hate each other in real life?
Yeah, she doesn't. I don't think she understands a lot of things.
Right. Yeah. So this chick didn't understand that a roast battle was kayfabe, and that like you and this other guy who you were roasting didn't actually hate each other in real life.
Well, yeah, and the joke that she gave him was really bad because she doesn't know how to write jokes or anything like that. You could say Tim broke up with me on April 1st, right after my friend died of a heroin overdose.
What?
And I was just like... Yeah, Drew, you could use that on stage.
Yeah, right.
Good luck using that on stage and getting anybody to fucking understand what that means.
Yeah, meanwhile, who at that roast battle knows your girlfriend and like...
Yeah, she's like, here's an inside joke that's also not true. She made it, like, she wants to make it sound like I broke up with her because her friend died of a heroin overdose. And that's not why I broke up with her. It just happened to be
right
like a month after her friend died, where I was just like, "You're crazy." And
it was a month after. That's a long time after.
Yeah, her friend died in like February, and then we ended things in like April 1st, I think. So it was actually 2 months after her friend died.
Jesus Christ!
And then she was like, "He broke up with me because my friend died of a heroin overdose." And I'm like, "No, so come on." And then she was sending. She's one of those people that like. Well, she's friends with a few of my Youngstown comedy friends. Well, actually, only one of my Youngstown comedy friends. The other one blocked her, too. But she was sending him audio messages for, like, weeks after the breakup. God. They were, like, 30-minute long audio messages, and I would see him at shows and be like, I still have, like, 4 hours of audio messages to listen to about you.
Oh, my God.
Like, yeah, let me know how those go.
Jesus, fuck.
But, yeah, so she was very unstable and crazy, and then so the girl after that was not unstable and crazy, but she had a 2-year-old son, and she had seen me at a winery show that I did in Geneva, and she gave me her number she folded up her number in like an origami style dollar bill. It was
kind of cool. Yeah.
And I didn't even want to message her because I don't like talking to people I don't know. I barely like talking to people I know. So it's like I didn't want to message her, but then the girl that runs the show was like, at least text her and say thanks for laughing and like coming out to the show, and then see what happens.
Yeah.
So then we saw what happens was that I dragged it out for months and entertained the idea of being like a surrogate dad to her like 2-year-old son.
Mm-hmm. You said you liked the kid.
The kid was really cool, yeah. And she was cool to a point. I mean, she was like, she seemed to really give a shit in a way that the previous girl didn't. The previous girl seemed like she was trying to manipulate me into being who she wanted me to be. Right. And this girl was kind of just like, hey, I'm 30, I have a 2-year-old son, and the dad isn't in the picture. I could use all the fucking help I can get and all this shit. Until I did a podcast, and we were talking about old jokes that don't work anymore. And I did a joke that she took great offense to. And basically, the next time I went over there, she was like, we need to have a talk.
Wait. So I didn't know this part of the story. You didn't even tell the fucking joke on stage?
Mm-mm.
You just said it like anecdotally on a podcast?
It was a podcast, Running Down a Bit with John Brown and Bob McClure. We all sit around and talk about bits that we've done on stage that don't work.
Fuck that chick. Yeah, you can say it again. It's a great joke.
That'd be funny if the girl I'm dating now breaks up with me.
Yeah, now you have to say it. Now you have to tempt fate, because that's
every podcast I do. Yeah, I do the same joke.
Dooms your relationship.
It's the same joke that follows me from podcast to podcast.
Yeah, it's like the dog that you can't stop petting.
Yeah.
Remember?
The joke is that superhero movies suck because they never have to actually fight evil people. It's always just like some guy with money that builds robots. But I want to see them be like Spider-Man. You got a new villain who just showed up. They call him the Hangman. What he does is he kidnaps women. He imprisons them in his basement. He rapes them until they get pregnant. He makes them carry the baby full term, and then as soon as they start giving birth and the baby's head starts crowning, he strangles the woman and hangs her by her neck. So when the police find her, she's just hanging there, and the baby's head sticking out of her vagina, screaming. And then Spider-Man's like, "You need to call the fucking police. Why the fuck did you call me?" And they're like, well, you do that thing where you shoot the web out of your wrist. He's like, you need guns.
Yeah, you need
lots of fucking guns.
You need to kill this guy on sight.
The joke was that he's so gross and evil that Spider-Man doesn't want to fuck with him.
A superhero really doesn't know what to do with him. Yeah.
So it has to be something.
Because there's never villains specifically like that in comic books.
Yeah, it can't be like Spider-Man. He takes money out of cash registers because Spider-Man be like, I could probably help you with that.
Or like the most evil they'll get is like the Green Goblin does kill people, but he does it in a way that's like very comic booky and like mass scale. It's never like him ripping a fucking fetus out or something. Yeah,
basically I did that joke, and I haven't even done it in 8 years on stage. Like because I got a reaction from the audience. I
didn't know that she heard this joke from you talking about it, not
on a
actually
podcast,
not actually telling it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell this fucking idiot that you dated that like that wasn't the whole point of that thing? Was you weren't telling the joke anymore?
Yeah, the whole point of it was that it doesn't work. So I was like.
Right.
I was like, the point of the podcast is to figure out how to make jokes that don't work.
You brought back a joke from the dead just to be like, yeah, this joke is stupid. I don't say it anymore. And then the joke, you resurrecting it ruined a relationship.
And it was really because I wasn't prepared on the podcast. It's like I didn't plan to do that joke. It was just like I was scrolling through the jokes on my phone and I was like, oh, here's one I haven't done in a while. And then so I did that. So it wasn't even supposed to be part of the joke thing. And then when I went to her house the next time, she was like, we need to like have a talk. And I said, okay. And then so she goes, I listened to the podcast. And I didn't know
you probably which podcast.
I was like, what do you mean?
Because you were doing my podcast
yeah,
too
yeah.
at the time.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? And she's like, the John Brown podcast where you do the jokes. And I heard your joke about the Spider-Man thing, and it sent a chill down my spine.
What a drama queen.
And I was like,
what a fucking...
I was like, oh, it sent a chill down your spine. And she was like, yeah, the fact that I'm letting somebody with thoughts like that around my son.
Get the fuck out. What the fuck?
She's like, I want my son...
What do you mean thoughts like that? Like, that was... Oh, my God.
She's like, I want my...
Oh, my God.
She's like, I don't want my son growing up thinking misogyny is, like, funny.
Oh, my God.
And she was like, you need to promise that you'll
that was her takeaway, that it was misogynistic?
Yeah, she said it was misogynistic.
Not that it was about, like...
Not that it was that Spider-Man's a pussy.
Not that the bad guy is, like, a serial killer.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were praising a dude for murdering a woman and making her baby crown out of her pussy.
Yeah, she made it sound like the fact that I could even come up with a scenario that disgusting was why she couldn't deal with it. But
what a retard.
Yeah, anyway, the point of it is that she just like didn't seem to comprehend. And also, I don't know how much of it was she wanted out of the relationship, and that was just like the excuse that she could use.
Right, but it sounded like she wasn't giving you warning signs before that.
No, but she had a thing where I was playing like you ever play that card game Phase 10?
Is that a real card game?
Yeah, it's like some kid's card game where you have to do a lot of math and shit.
No, it sounds.
I'm not good.
It sounds awful. If you have to
really
do a
bad.
lot of math.
We were playing Phase 10 a couple weeks before we broke up, and it was the first time I played it, and she was like, "I love Phase 10," and I was getting frustrated with myself because I couldn't figure out the rules of the game because it's a lot of math.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "I don't know if I like this game," and she started crying because I wasn't good at the game. And then she told me, we're never going to play that game again. And I was like, why? And she was like, because I don't like the feelings that are brought up when we were playing it. Like, I had a lot of negative. She's like, I don't like having negative attachments to things that I have, like, sad reactions to and all this stuff. So she cried over a fucking children's card game.
So your inability to understand a children's game, which by the way is also kind of funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
That is funny in and of itself.
I was like,
the fact that this is a game for children that you couldn't wrap your head around.
I was literally like, I can't count. We have to stop talking. We have to stop playing this.
This is a game made for children with like a fucking fourth grade education.
Ages like 4 to 8.
You didn't know what the fuck you were doing. And that made her so upset she started getting PTSD.
She started crying. She said, this reminds me of...
What a fucking ass. Like, what a retard.
And then I got the sense that she was using me as some kind of playmate for her son, which makes sense because I can't even count, apparently.
So her only dating a guy to use as a playmate for her son, that's not weird, but your joke, though, is weird. Okay,
she would have never admitted that. I brought it up to her once. I was like, I feel like a playmate for your son, and I don't even feel like your boyfriend. And she's like... Well, we haven't been together long enough for you to be like a father figure to him. So until that happens, you're just going to be kind of like in my life and he's going to be around. So blah, blah, blah.
He's going to be, oh my God. Bro, you might have saved this kid's life. You might have been the only thing between the kid being alive or the kid being like Casey Anthony'd by your ex.
Yeah.
Like if she wouldn't have found you, she would have just drowned the kid in the pool so she could start going out and partying.
Yeah. And it's funny because when she met me, the show she met me at, I did a joke about raping a cat. I did my joke about raping a cat, and she was like, that was my favorite joke that you told. And then cut to the end of the relationship.
Right, where you're just...
Where Spider-Man is too afraid to fight a rapist. And she's like, I don't like rape jokes, and I don't think they should ever be told. I told her, I was like, what about when I fucked that cat? You like that? And she was like, well, I'm not a cat. And I'm like, oh, so I can rape things that aren't women, and that's fine.
I would have been like, the best thing about like when you were like... Oh, what about when I fuck that cat? Because it sounds like you're saying, what about when I fucked your pussy? Because fuck that cat.
Yeah.
Is like, what about when I fuck that cat? You know what I'm saying? I got some puss.
And then somebody in an adjacent apartment hears that and starts beating off. But
I assumed that the person in the other apartment was beating off to the entire conversation, Spider-Man joke and all.
Yeah, no.
Ladies and gents, if you ever break up with a comedian over a joke, let it be known, fair warning, this is what happens.
Yeah, it will be.
They tell jokes about you for the rest of their life. Yeah. That's what. So Tim's ex, if you're ever listening to this, if you're ever Googling Tim Wolfe and this podcast comes up, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're a fucking retard. You're a maroon.
Yeah, so she told me, she was like, I never want you have to promise never to do rape jokes on stage. And I told her, I was like,
you fell in love with me because I talked about raping a cat.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And I told her, I was like, you're not going to tell me what jokes I can and can't do on stage. So that's like not something that's going to happen. And she was like, well, if that's how you feel, I don't want to like continue this relationship. And I'm like, that's fine. What would Norm Macdonald do?
Fucking walk.
And then I died of cancer.
Yeah, he would be funny and then die of cancer.
But no, I just told her, I was like, well, I'm not going to let you tell me what jokes I can and can't do on stage. So that's not what's going to happen. And then like she broke up with me over text because she was like, well, I don't think this is going to work. And then when I got home, I sent her a message and she was like, I was like, hey, it seems silly to do this over like a disagreement. So, I mean, if you like want to talk about it more. And then she sent me a text the next day where she was like, I don't think I can get past this. So it's done or whatever. So the first girl was like January to March, the end of March. This girl was like May to August. And now I started dating this other girl who's a comic.
Okay, that's good.
So she understands jokes.
Cool.
And she's funny.
And she has an open mic. That's kind of cool.
And she has a mic. She's funny. And
oh, by the way, would like to deliver another message to Tim's ex that I think might be kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
If you were listening to this, Tim's ex, have fun being a single parent again, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Have fun raising your kid by yourself.
Yeah. And
again.
And you know what's crazy is before her kid was 2. 3 years ago, she was homeless.
Tim, that wasn't a red flag to you?
Well, yeah, I was in the car with her. We were driving around, and there was somebody in an intersection holding up a cardboard sign, and she was like, "I used to be one of those people." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, 3 years ago, I was homeless in Colorado. I had a cardboard sign that I would hold up for like tips." So now I do a joke on stage.
That's not a tip, by the way. When you give a homeless person money, you're not tipping them. She said for tips.
I don't know if she's for tips.
You tip somebody when they provide a service to you. Like you tip a fucking bartender or like a server. You don't tip a homeless person. If you give them money, you're that's charity. You're giving them money. That's not a tip.
What if they're busking or playing guitar or something? That would be a tip.
I guess you could count that as a tip, but like from what you told me about this chick so far, it doesn't sound like she had any real talent at anything. So It doesn't sound like I don't think she was playing guitar.
No.
When she was holding the sign up.
She was not talented at anything. No, I'm now that I'm thinking about it. She was better at phase 10 than me.
Yeah, okay, I guess that's okay.
That's she's good at children's card games.
Could you imagine if she held up a sign saying, "If I beat you at phase 10, you have to give me money. I'll make a bet. I'll place a wager with you."
I told her, I was like, let's just play Go Fish. I know how to play that. But so I do a joke now where it's like, before I started doing comedy, I was almost engaged to a Jewish girl whose parents were really wealthy. Mm-hmm. And now I started doing comedy, and I can't even hold down the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. She's like, I don't want the turtle doves, Kevin.
Well, to be fair, the minute you started doing comedy, the fucking Jewish chick's family was definitely not ever going to let you marry their fucking daughter.
Well, my new girlfriend's Jewish, the comic.
Is she?
Yeah.
All right, but is she like Jewish, or is she like blue-collar Jewish?
She's Jewish.
Right, but is she... You know what I mean. You know what I'm getting at. Is she from a family of like doctors and lawyers, or is she from a family of like middle class Jews?
I don't know about doctors and lawyers, but
bankers. Nah.
No.
Okay. She's like a normal, well-adjusted Jewish chick. All right.
I'm trying to think of a comparable Jew.
Well, I mean, comedians. I guess Jerry Lewis could be a good.
Yeah, I'm dating Jerry Lewis.
Lady.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, Tim, I wanted to go to the steakhouse for our date tonight.
That sounds like Woody Allen a little bit.
Would you like to? Well, I mean, same thing. Same fucking another stereotype, another Jew when it comes to comedy.
She's gonna hear all this Jew talk and be like, "We need to have a talk."
All this, yo, oh my God, Tim, I just did you in. This is breakup number 3 right here.
You did it.
Oh, she's gonna be like, you're gonna go home. You're gonna go to her fucking open mic. She's gonna be like, Timothy, me, I gotta have a word with you. I heard you talking to that anti-Semitic co-host of your podcast.
Yeah. I'm like, why didn't you reveal that you talk like this before?
She's gonna be like, I thought you would think it was stereotypical and run away because I have asthma and.
So like, I don't know. I'm optimistic about this because she's a comedian. But I'm always cynical now because I know the cycle of people dating me. Yeah, the next episode of the podcast, I'm going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not. I'm dating. I bought a dog now, and that's what I
The dog can't get a
I just have a dog.
Yeah.
And then I do a joke about a dog.
The dog, and then you go home, the dog ran. The dog left a note.
Yeah, the dog's
It was just a paw print, and it ran away.
I don't think you should pet me anymore, Tim. I said, what? You can't say that. You're a dog.
You're the dog that I can't stop petting. You're the cursed dog.
We need to talk about you petting me, Tim, and how that needs to stop.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Ba-da-da-da.